Hello, all my Americans, Europeans, those couple people from Australia, and that one mouthy guy from Scotland who shows up once in a while. All you weirdos, welcome, welcome. I'm going to do something that I never do on this channel, and that's give you a short video. Yeah. For all you that complain that the videos are too long, this is it. This is your one big moment. And that's because I am charging towards, one, my surgery date, and two, all this freaking work that I have to get done. So we gotta be snappy, okay? We had the first live chat on this channel, and it actually went really well, I thought. I mean, God bless Noreen who did the moderating, so I didn't have to see any of the bullshittery. But I thought it went really well, and it was fun, and so we'll do more of those. And then shortly after that, we did a live masterclass on Patreon about how to shoot travel vlogs. Also, this is, I call this hair, not my mermaid hair, but my day 3 dry shampoo hair. This is called the Community College Cosmetology School not being open in 6 months. That's what that is. Okay, and that went really well. We went through everything from how to shoot, how to write, how to edit, how to track your audio for stories, all that jazz. And then shortly, once my face goes from Quasimodo back to somewhat moto, at least a little bit presentable, then we will do another masterclass on there for digital photography, which is my baby. Love taking photos. Love it. But as a piece of that, because we've already done this lesson on Patreon, I thought I would share my pro tips for how to get your photos, your travel photos, any photo, less people-y, because nothing will ruin a great photo like people. People destroy beautiful photos. Now, I'm not talking about your stage Instagram model, like none of that. I mean, those are awful in and of themselves. But I'm talking about you go somewhere, you spend all this money, you go to travel, and then you look at your photos when they're done and you have, you know, big bellied tourists or like hairy people or Instagram models in the background, and it just kind of ruins the photo because you don't want to look at those people forever. You wanted to look at the landscape or the scenery, what have you. So I put a lot of energy into getting the people out, and you can professionally do that in editing, in post, but let's be honest, the strict majority of us don't know how to use Photoshop or don't want to sit down and edit out all the people and all the photos. So it's just easier if we could find a way to just get rid of them all. Now, I would say my number one tip is to walk around with an absolute scowl on your face, and people will get out of your way. That is my tried and true method. If you don't look friendly, people won't try to be around you. It's never failed me. It's why I won't get Botox right here. My dermatologist is like, you frown a lot. If you keep doing that, you're going to get those 11s, those 2 lines right here. And I said, that is my favorite expression. You will never rob me of that, ever. Or we're only going to do it on one so I can at least frown with one side of my face. I'll just turn so that they can't see the side that's medically plastered to my skull. That's one way of doing it, but some of you are, you know, agreeable and approachable, so that won't work for you. So let's go through, because I realized as I was sitting down to write out these master classes that there is actually something of a technique to doing that. And the examples that we're going to use are Boldt Castle. You can look back at that video. It looked like I was there totally by myself. The Biltmore Estate, and then when I recently did the mine. Going through the mine, it looked like it was just me, but I was there with at least 15 really obnoxious people, and somehow I just evaporated them from the story completely. Okay, so the number one tip is to aim for the end of day if you're going to go somewhere. This is the exact opposite of what most people do. What most people do is they pack up their little crotch goblins and they try to get there nice and early, and then they have lunch at the same hour that everybody else has lunch, and then they go back out, and then towards the end of the day, then they start to go home because the kids are like having a meltdown. I aim for the meltdown hour because I don't want to be anywhere near you and your family. So when I'm traveling, I typically will try to show up for tours or anything else at the end of the day. The complication with that is that means you have to shoot faster, you have to move faster. If I'm gonna be doing a vlog of whatever location or site, I've got to be like this because I'm running out of time. Also, the staff has been putting up with people the entire day, so they're kind of out of it, but usually I don't really need the staff because I've done all my research. I'm like just here to get what we call in the industry is B-roll, which is your video and your photos so that I can tell a story. But if you aim for the end of the day, there are going to be fewer people around and they will not be moving at a rapid pace if you've got to like keep up with a tour. And also your light is so much better. We call the period of time around when the sun is setting, it's called the golden hour. And just the next time you're outside in the evening, just pay attention to it. When the sun is right overhead, the light is blue. Like if you look here, the outside, it's, you know, I don't know, it's not midday, but see that bluish tint to the light? Well, that is the Kelvin temperature of outdoor light. And then if you see over here, I have the LEDs and they're more of like a yellow. Well, when the sun is right up above, you're going to get more of a bluish, whitish tint to your light. But as it starts to coast to the horizon, you get that beautiful orange, yellow, soft glow. And the only way that you can get that is to wait until the end of the day to start shooting. So it's great to be on that side of the clock anytime you go to take photos. One, because there just aren't that many people around, and two, because the light is really in your favor. Okay? All right, number 2, first in, last out. Almost all the travel vlogs you have to have, and I won't go through our entire masterclass, but there has to be a stabilizing shot, okay? Some shot that lets people know where you are, and that's usually a wide frame. And that goes for photography too. If you walked around with your camera, right? I shoot with a Sony a6000 and just did nothing but tight close-up shots of things, well, people would have no idea where you were. So there's always one at least wide frame shot of like, this is what we saw. And the example of that would be in the Biltmore estate. Right at the beginning of the video, I have the shot that I took down the hill, down the lawn, and like, there's the whole house. When I did the gold mine tour, it was me walking down, like from the outside down into the mine. So I'm giving you the first person perspective of what it would have been like to be a miner, to walk down here. Now, if I had just let people do what they want to do, I would have had the backs of heads. I'd be, you know, with my little, hold on, where is it? With my GoPro, trying to get this shot walking in the mine, and all I would have seen is the back of everyone's head, or people walking around with the cell phone like, you know, and I don't, you'll be distracted by that, so I don't want that. So I've got to get rid of them. So I either have to push them down a mine shaft, or I have to be a little bit more tactical. And so my rule is try to be the first in for the very first shots, and then the very last for everything else. To be the first in on a tour, you're gonna have to fight people. Two types of people are gonna fight you the most. One, millennial couples. They're there for the gram, especially the female. So they will try to be number one in all the time. You've got to beat her. He doesn't care. It's just her. And then the second type, and when you don't really pick up on these little nuances of behavior until you've traveled globally, but some European countries, they will flat out go to war with you. Like anyone from the Ukraine, like they'll get into a fist fight with you to be up the front. It is their tour. They are not taking anyone's orders. Like that's just, you know, all cultures have different personal space needs, and some countries are like super aggressive about that, and that like the British, the English, oh, they're just yummy because they are so proper and they believe in protocol. So if the tour guide says everyone in a single file line, oh, the British, they will just queue up. They will queue up. They are so good, but like everybody else is not. So you've got to beat all those people. And all I'm going to tell you about that is you've just got to get your body right up next to the tour guide. I mean, my tour guide in a lot of tours can probably see like into the back of my head through my pupils. I'm like, I'm here and I'm not moving. You got to just hold your ground on that one. Because if I don't get up front, I can't get that stabilizing shot. Okay? So just fight for it. After that, you're headed towards the back. So once I get the shot of me walking into the Biltmore Estate or going down that mine, or first person to enter a room, if you're doing like a multi-room house tour or something like that, or a factory tour, once I'm first in and I get that wide stabilizing shot, I'm good. I'm done. I will go ahead, millennials, you take it. All you kids from the Ukraine, y'all get up front. I don't give a damn. I got what I needed. That was it. So after you get that shot, you can then go in when people are all trying to selfie and like get their stuff. You get your tight shots and you get all your details and all that, and get your ass to the back of the caboose. Because after that, people in a story that you're telling, or if you're doing a photography series, they don't know where you are. So you don't have to, you're not revealing anything. So I'll head to the back. And then now you would say, yeah, but now you're going to get all of these heads. You're going to get all the backs of the heads. Nuh-uh, no. Because what I'm going to do at this point is, as we go room to room or proceed through a tour or wherever we are, you know, they'll stop and they'll talk to everybody, and everybody will like get their photos, and I will get my tight shots and my medium shots. And then as the tour keeps walking, once everybody leaves that space, I will turn around and get my wide shots, or the shot I needed of nobody else being there. Sometimes this ticks off tour guides. It kind of irritated that delicious young man who did, oh God, I sound like I'm 85, who did the Gold Mine tour, because I was dragging ass. I was behind everybody. So the tour keeps moving and I'm behind to get the shots now that everyone's moved out, to stay behind and get like my no people shots. And so if that happens, just walk up to him and say, I'm so excited to be here. Enthusiasm works wonders with people, and I really, really want to get these photos without like all these people, and so I'm not trying to be rude. I'll be like a couple steps behind, but I'm listening, and like they'll always be like, oh, okay, as long as they know that you're not deliberately being a jerk. So just remember, the very first couple shots, you got to be in first. And then after that, then just wait for people to all process through. Turn around and get what you need. And you will have 0 people in all your photos. And you'll have no competition, because nobody wants to be at the back, because they don't understand the value of being at the back. Okay? Number 3, just ask. It's not a comfortable thing to ask people to do, because they're also trying to enjoy their tour, and I try to be respectful of that. But tourists tend to wander, and there's, you know, if somebody is shooting with this or a DSLR, they've paid a lot of money and have a legitimate hobby or purpose or thing they're trying to do to get that shot. And what usually ruins that is like the cell phone, iPhone tourist, because they're not, you know, those photos are just going to get stored on their phone. They're not doing anything with those photos. They might get posted to social media. But someone who bought this, I promise you, is going to try to edit them and maybe print them. And they're passionate about it, because you wouldn't have spent the money anyway. And what happens is you're trying to get your shots, and like people are just mindlessly, you've probably seen them when you travel. They hold up the phone and just they take 500 photos. All over the place. And I'm like, how many did you need? They just do. It's odd, but they do. So often people don't realize that they are walking into your shot, or they're standing in front of your shot. The best person who's ever managed this that I have worked with is the Detroit, oh, I forgot, I have my Detroit shirt on. Detroit Police. I'm so upset that I couldn't get to Detroit for my birthday, but I didn't want to get into a fist fight with their governor, so I just stayed right here in the trailer park in North Carolina. Jesse, who does the abandoned buildings tour, or who did, he had this rule that said, okay, professional photographers, y'all are going first in. And so we would get in, we'd set up our tripods, we'd get everything we needed, and then he'd say, okay, if anybody else has like an iPhone or anything, you know, if y'all want to filter in. And it let us get what we needed. But most people are not going to do that for you. So if people are walking around and wandering and in your shot, just ask, and do it with a smile on your face and a bit of humor, and it never fails. So what I'll do is I'll walk up to somebody and I'll say, y'all are just so cute, and I would love to have you in my forever photos, and for every day of my life that I look at a picture of this building, I would just love nothing more than to see you both in my shot. But do you think that maybe for one of those we could just skedaddle onto the side so I can get this picture? And they'll laugh and they'll say, oh yeah, sorry, hold on. And they will back up so I can get the shot that I need. I think the most notorious attempt at doing this, where I literally cleared an entire room, was at Boldt Castle. At Boldt Castle, there was the ballroom. And the ballroom was so special to me because the man who designed Boldt Castle hated dancing. Hated it. But his wife, who he built this whole castle for, she loved it. So he designed this epic ballroom for her, and I just thought that was such a testament of love, that if you hate doing something but you go way overboard to include it because you know that it will make someone else happy. So I have got to get a shot of this ballroom, and I don't want any people in it because it'll be a distraction to the story that I'm telling. Well, it was this summer busy day at Boldt Castle, and there were all these people walking in, and that's what I did. I just went up to each one of them, and I told them what I was doing. I'm shooting this story. I'm so excited to be here. I came all the way from North Carolina. I've been on the road for 7 months. I am just dying to get a picture of this room with none of you in it. And they're like, oh yeah, okay. And so the entire room, I kid you not, cleared to the doors, and everyone just kind of stood there like, and I did as fast as I could. I get a couple shots, and then I just yelled. I said, okay, now everybody dance. And they were fine. If you approach people with a smile and say something funny, 10 times out of 10, they'll help you out. And if anyone is a jerk about it, then you go to our last resort, which is you can edit these things in post. There are ways of editing out people and all kinds of things. We know this because we've seen Photoshop pictures of celebrities and brides, that you can manipulate an image to look like anything. And so I won't go into all that because I really hate Photoshop. I'm huge on authenticity, both in people, in video, in journalism, and in photos. And so while my photos are enhanced, I enhance the saturation, I'll bring up the shadows and all that, I don't like changing what is. And I don't like it when photographers do that. So I hate those fake come on, Casey. Fake skies that they're now putting on real estate photos. All that's fake, where it looks like the sun is setting, but it's not. And it's like, well, that's not what is. That's not what it looks like. It's not real. It's fake. It's not photography to me. That's digital art. That's like a coloring book with a laptop. So I really don't like using Photoshop, and I only use it in real estate photography when I need to do what's called a window pull, which is, when you have a blown out window, you can actually go in and like fix it. It's more complicated than that. But you can look on YouTube for videos about how to erase people from your photos. I just personally think it's easier to manually erase them by getting them out of your way in the first place. So I hope that was helpful. With a little bit of legwork on the front end, you can get travel photos, family photo, any kind of photo with just you in it and not worry about anyone else. The biggest and most important one is to be first in and last out. Once you are last out, you've got all that space behind you to shoot and do whatever you want in, because everybody else is still fighting to be first up front. Okay? Alright, so I have a complicated week ahead where I'm going to be all chipmunky, and I'm going to use that as an excuse to eat ice cream out of the carton. But it's just sometimes you got to do the thing, right? And who doesn't want to recover from surgery in an RV? I'm stoked. Actually, Allison just gave me her password for Disney Plus, so I've got like all the Disney movies to catch up on. Last night I watched Brave with Merida, right? My fellow sassy ginger, I was going to say ginger spinster, but she's like 10 in the movie. And the quick story I'll tell you about that from the road, to give you a little smile before we leave, is while I was traveling, I met these two absolutely adorable little girls. little just precious, precious. Gonna be hellions when they're teenagers, but right now they're precious. And they saw the color of my hair, and one of them walked up to me and said, "Did you turn your mom into a bear?" And I was like, oh my God, kids say the weirdest things. And then it clicked that she was looking at my hair and thinking of the movie Brave with Merida, who turns her mom into a bear. And I leaned over and I said, she already was a bear. What I should have said is, I only turn overly inquisitive little children into bears.